And the implementation of tariffs and the threat of even more has Federal Reserve officials trying to figure out what the impact will be on our economy. And as Steve Liesman reports now, the answer is not clear-cut.
Will the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to help prop up the economy if the trade war weakens growth? Not so fast. Trouble is, the Fed isn't sure how tariffs will ultimately affect the economy, so it doesn't really know how to respond.
In general, the tariffs are inflationary, but on a transitory basis. They typically tend to raise prices. We think the latest round of tariffs will probably add about a couple of tenths to inflation. I think on the backside, you do tend to see some deflationary effects from lower growth.
So the Fed has to figure out, will higher prices from tariffs filter into the economy and raise inflation, requiring higher interest rates, or will weaker growth possibly created by the tariffs bring down inflation, requiring a rate cut? The Fed's answer? We don't know, and we're just going to have to wait to find out. The president, however, doesn't want the Fed to wait at all. He said in a tweet today, China will be pumping money into their system and probably reducing interest rates, as always, in order to make up for the business they are and will be losing. If the Federal Reserve ever did a match, it would be game over, we win. And traders who bet on the Fed funds rate think they know the answer, too. The January contract is priced to an 87% probability that the Fed cuts rates by then. But that looks to be way ahead of where Fed officials are right now. Kansas City Fed President Esther George said today, quote, over the medium term, I see the biggest risk coming from trade policy uncertainty and slower growth. Right now, the data are noisy, and we need more time and evidence to judge whether the risks materialize. There's good reason for the Fed to be confused. The U.S. economy hasn't faced this level of trade barriers since the 1930s. So the only true answer for the Fed, no one knows how tariffs will affect the economy, but it appears we're going to find out. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Steve Liesman.